Good day everyone and welcome back to another lesson here in reading and writing skills. Before we begin, let me just tell you about this beautiful quote, and may this quote inspire you to conquer all your challenges and other difficulties in life. Let your passion drive your profession. As we all know, in the near future, you'll be definitely engaging yourself with your profession, with your chosen field. So let it be. Let your passion drive your profession. To formally begin our lesson, let us have first an initial activity, and this is entitled 4 Picks 1 Word. In this activity, each puzzle contains 4 images like the usual game that we experience already, wherein it has something in common, and the thing that you're going to accomplish is that you must guess the correct word that describes the whole picture as a group. Okay, class, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed our activity. Now, I have here 3 questions that you need to answer. First, we have, did you enjoy our activity? How was it? How does it feel accomplishing or like guessing the correct answer? And then why? Okay, you may simply comment your answer using our comment chat box below. Second question, what is the activity all about? What can you say about the activity? I want you to explain it thoroughly. And lastly, have you ever looked for a job? Ayan. I know that your answer, no, from the previous question, from the second question, is somehow connected with the third one. But yeah, let me just ask you, I'm curious about if you already experienced, no, looking for a job. And if it is yes, then feel free to share your experience. Okay? That's it. Thank you so much, students, for all your answers. Now, I'm glad to inform you all that our objectives for this lesson are the following. First, to distinguish application for employment and various form of office correspondence. Second, to write a cover letter for job application. And lastly, share the importance of purposeful writing for profession. These are the objectives that we need to accomplish at the end of our lesson. Last time, we already discussed the first part of purposeful writing for professions, wherein we discussed or we learned something about the significance of writing a resume and application letter for college admission. But today's lesson, we are going to supplement another set of lessons that is connected with the previous one. And for today's lesson, we will be discussing more about application for employment and various form of office correspondence. But what do we really mean about application for employment? I know that perhaps you already have an idea, but yeah, let us have this opportunity, class, to broaden our knowledge about this concept, which is application for employment. When we say employment application letter, it is otherwise known as the job application letter or simply a cover letter. It is typically a one-page letter that we attach to the resume when we are applying for a certain job. And that's it. That is what we call employment application letter. Since you already experienced how to create a resume, then this is also a good opportunity for us to learn more about the said letters. This will help you to be really part of their company because this is a prerequisite requirements. Now, let me just ask you this question, class. What do you think is the purpose of writing the employment application letter? Ayan. You may simply comment your answer below or using our comment section. Okay, class. Thank you so much for commenting all your answers using our comment box. But you know what? To give an additional answer about the purpose of writing an employment application letter, it is about to highlight as well, right, the applicant's experiences and personal qualities for him or her to be considered for an interview schedule as well as with the available job position. We are done defining what is an employment application letter. Now let us determine the letter formats. Here, class, in employment application letter or cover letter, it has 3 different formats. I already mentioned these concepts last synchronous class, and I hope you can still recall the following. Okay, so let's start with the full block, with the modified block, and the other one is the semi-block format. I'm going to give you example for this one for you to distinguish now what is the physical feature of the said different formats. So here, class, are the following examples of the letter formats in employment application letter. There you have it. We have business letter format. The other one, the semi-modified block letter. And the other one is the modified block letter. Next part of our discussion is all about writing an employment application letter. I think we are now ready to really determine the guidelines this time in writing an employment application letter. Since we already defined and we already showed the different formats that we have. Here, class, in writing an employment application letter, there are things that we need to highlight or like infos that we need to highlight. We have here the heading, date, and inside address. The heading includes the applicant's address to make it easier for the employer to easily contact the applicant. So these are the details about yourself. Next thing, the date, wherein it is written below the heading indicates the date when the letter was written. And the other one is the inside address, wherein it refers to where and to whom the letter is addressed. So you need to check the background of the person that you're going to send your specific letter, the recipient of your letter. So that's the inside address. So class, here's an example of what we call heading, date, and inside address. By the way, heading is otherwise known as a letterhead. Yeah. Next part is what we have, greeting or salutation. Greeting or salutation is written to indicate for whom the letter is, and it should start with the word dear, followed by the last name of the receiver. And don't forget as well to end your salutation with a colon. It's part of the basic guideline as we write our employment application letter. And let's say if the name has not been obtained, then address it as ma'am or sir. You can do that naman. Okay? Once again, right after heading, date, and inside address, we're now ready to indicate our greeting or salutation. So here, class, an example of it. Greeting or salutation. A very simple way to greet the person you are referring about the given letter that you have. And of course, right after that, we are now ready to indicate the body of our letter or the content of our letter. This is the most important, most essential, and definitely critical part in writing the employment application letter, wherein it includes information on the job the applicant is applying for, where the job posting was seen, and the skills and experiences the applicant possesses. So basically, you're going to indicate the your introduction part, your body, and of course, the conclusion part. Here is an example class. You can read the given example in your own. That's it. Right after your body or the content of your letter, you are now ready to indicate your complimentary clause, wherein it is done to politely or courteously finish the letter. You may also note that the complimentary clause ends with a comma. So here is an example. You may simply indicate sincerely or yours truly. These said words or phrases are example only ng formal way on how to end your letter. And of course, do not forget to indicate your signature and your identification. Now this is to consider as the last part of your letter, wherein you're going to write your name on the first line and your title, if it is applicable, on the second line. Then of course, you need to certify your letter with a signature directly above the first line. And here is the example. Your full name, it can be like a printed name, or like all capital letters. Most of the time, it is written in all uppercase. Now, and then above your printed name, you're going to indicate your signature. There you have it. That's it. That will be all for the content of your employment application letter. Okay, class. So here's what I have mentioned a while ago. The parts of your, the body of your letter. These are the things that you're going to include. Yeah, we have introduction, body, and of course, conclusion. Just like what we have mentioned previously in reading and writing skills, as we discussed application letter for college admission, if you can still recall, there are common yet essential parts as we write letter or any academic paper, any academic or non-academic paper. Okay? So we will discuss this one by one for you to really understand what are the things that you're going to include. Though earlier, I have shown already an example of it. But yeah, let us just discuss it thoroughly. Here, class, in your introduction, you're going to introduce yourself and state your purpose. Why did you write? Indicate your source of information in learning about the job vacancy. Where did you learn that they are hiring? Is it about online posting? Is it about the letters or like the commercials or like the advertisement you have seen, and so on and so forth? And of course, sa first part pa lang, you need to show, just like in your application letter for college admission, you need to evidently show your enthusiasm to work in the company. So you must be really looking forward about their positive response. So that's it. That is what we call introduction. Very simple, yet you need to be really direct to the point. Let them know right away your purpose. Okay, that's it. Another thing, class, in your introduction, this is just a tip. You should add an interesting statement about yourself that will cause your reader to continue reading your credentials. So perhaps you can highlight three of your most significant skills and then try to explain what are the benefits of those skills in times na ikaw maging part ng kanilang company. Right? That's it. In the body of your letter, you may simply present your work experiences, if there are. Of course, your academic qualifications, your trainings attended, and some personal qualities with specific evidence. Well, of course, you need to organize your paragraphs accordingly. You need to separate them by theme or by function, just like what you did in writing your college application letter or college admission, right? You need to present the following accomplishments that you have received, and at the same time, as you write it, you need to be organized, concise, and direct to the point. Another tip, class, in writing your employment application letter, instead of merely telling the company about all the training that you had attended, you may say it in general term, and then tell the significance of those trainings. Okay? For the last part naman of the body, refer the reader to a specific part of the resume that suggests your strongest credentials for the position. And you need to mention that one for you really to convince them that you are deserve to be part of their company. Another thing within your body, within the body of your letter rather, explain the benefits of the employers if they will hire you or if they hire you. Do not just simply give facts. Make sure that you're able as well to explain what you can contribute. Okay? Make them realize your worth as an aspiring employee. Indicate your interest for an interview at the time most convenient to the employer. Indicate how the interviewer can contact you by simply putting or highlighting your contact information. Express of a positive response from the employer, and of course, thank the employer. So definitely that is the last part of your cover letter, your employment application letter. That concludes everything you have said within your letter. Okay? That's it. Okay, class, I'm gonna give you this time few tips in preparing your cover letter. Tip number 1, make sure that the letter is free from errors and does not contain any slang or informal language. So you really need to be appropriate about the words that you're going to use and make sure that it is formal, right? Limit your letter up to 1 page only, of course. Tip number 2, it is advisable for you to computerize the letter so that it can be read easily and print it in a good quality paper. And your cover letter must not repeat elaborated details written in the resume because I think that would make redundant details about yourself. So it's okay not to mention it again. And lastly, tip number 3, the applicant must not assume that he is hired after submitting the cover letter, of course. The application letter is attached to the resume and not the curriculum vitae because they are the same lang, no? Based from our previous discussion. Okay, class, part of our lesson is also about the various forms of office correspondence. Perhaps few of the various forms that we will be discussing familiar na kayo. But yeah, in this lesson, we will elaborate more about this said concept. Let us define first what is an office correspondence. When we say office correspondence, it is any written or digital communication exchanged by 2 or more parties. It corresponds may come in the form of letters, emails, text messages, voicemails, notes, or even postcards. Correspondence within the organization lends a meaning of definiteness. like to corporate policies and promote understanding between the members and the departments of organization. Correspondence with the outsider promotes image of the organization, clarifies its policies, keeps its legal entities intact, and keeps its operations going. Now, what about its purpose? No? One of the purposes of office correspondence is that to serve as a notice to the office personnel. These are the tools kasi for them to really relay good communication or good instruction, and at the same time it serves as a notice to the individual person or to the individual employee. It serves an order either to entire department or to individual employee in the office. It serves as well as an instruction, just like what they have said earlier, either to the department or to an individual working in the department. And we can classify class office correspondence in accordingly. Like for example, we have here internal correspondence, external correspondence, sales correspondence, personalized correspondence, and lastly, we have circulars. We will distinguish class the following classifications. When we say internal correspondence, it is a written communication between the employees, units, departments, and branches of the same organization. Okay? Once again, we have here same organization. The audience is the same, no? Same organization, or like uniform. And the internal correspondence formats or like forms here are the following. We have promotion letter, written reprimand, notice to explain, memorandum, formal requests for approval, and letter of approval or dismissal. So these are the letters or like materials wherein it circulates only with the same organization. Like for example, sa isang company, then internal lang yun, sa kanila lang. Hindi to pwedeng i-share sa iba outside the company or external, no? Or outer part ng company. It's inside only the company, the said company. And this is the direct opposite of internal correspondence. Once again, we have external correspondence. It takes place between different organizations. Since we're talking about external, so lalabas na tayo ng company. So iba't ibang organization na yung ma-encounter natin. Or simply between an organization and their individual clients. So we can consider that one under external correspondence. It is commonly made to vendors, creditors, suppliers, existing customers, prospective clients, financial institutions, government offices, law and accounting firms, business affiliates, sponsors and donors, and other offices that have either direct or indirect business relationship with the company. So this is definitely farther from the previous one, which is the internal. Because here in external correspondence class, malawak, very broad na yung audience na kakaharapin mo, right? So that's it. Next thing, we do have here sales correspondence. It refers to sales-related communications, like for example, the marketing letters, offer and discount letters. We can categorize pala those under sales correspondence, no? Those letters are like materials or tools. Other than marketing letters, offer and discount letters, we can also categorize under of it the following. No? We have sales proposals, invoices, statement of accounts, sales reports, order confirmation, purchase orders, letters of authorization, collection letters, and such. So those are the following that we can categorize under sales correspondence. It has something to do with the sales-related communication or process. Next thing, we do have here personalized correspondence, wherein it involves personal and emotional factors, and it can also be used for business purposes. personalized, so you can really customize this one. Depende kung ano yung gusto mong maging dating nito. And the following examples of it are the following. We have letters of gratitude. You can personalize those. Letters of favors or request, appreciation notes, letters of congratulations, of commendation, and such. So this is, I think, one of the creative correspondence or like materials or letter that we can do, no? Kasi we have the freedom, no, to personalize or to really customize everything on it. Okay? That is personalized correspondence. And lastly, class, we have here circulars. Circulars are notices that are communicated to a large number of people within the organization. It is also referred to as office instructions or announcements. So typically, the common announcements or the casual announcements that they do, no, inside the organization or within the company or organization. Often general announcements such as changes in contact information, details about meetings with shareholders, instructions about certain protocols, etc. are being communicated via circulars. And based from my experience, no, most of the time kapag there's a general announcement, nagagamit talaga yung electronic mail or like yung email, no? And other than that, also there are different platforms, no, wherein you can announce certain instruction or change of, let's say, rules or whatever. So this is what we call circular. And this happens only, no, within the organization, of course. Yeah. From the word itself, circular. So magsi-circulate lang ka-announce na instruction or anything about the company within the organization. Thank you so much, class, for considering this video. I hope you learned something about today's lesson, and please check our Google Classroom for your performance tasks and other details para naman sa inyong quiz. And without further ado, let us end our video lesson. I hope makatulong ito sa inyo in the near future, and please don't forget as well to accomplish all your missing tasks. You may simply submit the following, no, sa ating Google Classroom. And that will be all for today. Goodbye, class.